Malik bin Dinar al-Sami was the son of a Persian slave from Sihistan or Kabul. He became a student of Hasan al-Bashri. He is recorded as a scholar of Sahih Hadith and narrated hadiths from trusted figures of the past such as Anas bin Malik and Ibn Sirin. Malik bin Dinar was also a renowned expert in Qur'anic calligraphy. He passed away around the year 748 AD. When Malik was born, his father was a slave, but Malik himself was a free man. Once Malik bin Dinar boarded a boat. After they were in the middle of the sea, the crew asked Malik bin Dinar to pay the fare. Malik replied, "I have no money." The crew beat him until he fainted. When Malik regained consciousness, they demanded again, "Pay your fare, I have no money." Malik answered once more, and for the second time they beat him until he fainted. When Malik regained consciousness again for the third time, they pressed him, "Pay your fare, I have no money." Malik replied. The boat crew then shouted, "Let's throw him overboard into the sea." As they were about to throw Malik into the sea, suddenly all the fish in the sea raised their heads to the surface, each carrying 2 gold dinars in their mouths. Malik reached out his hand and took 2 dinars from the mouth of one fish and gave the money to the boat crew. Seeing this, the sailors immediately knelt down. Malik then walked on water, leaving the boat. This is the reason why he was called Malik bin Dinar. Malik bin Dinar was a very handsome man who loved to enjoy life and had an abundance of wealth. Malik lived in Damascus, where the Muawiyah faction had built a large and luxurious mosque. Malik greatly desired to be appointed as the caretaker of that mosque. So he went to the mosque. In a corner of the mosque, he laid out his prayer mat and spent an entire year continuously worshiping, hoping that everyone would see him praying, and he would always say to himself, "How hypocritical you are." A year passed. When the night grew late, Malik would leave the mosque and indulge in pleasures. One night, as he was enjoying music while all his friends had fallen asleep, suddenly from the lute he was playing, a voice was heard, "Malik, why have you not yet repented?" Hearing these heart-piercing words, Malik immediately threw his lute aside and ran to the mosque. Then he said to himself, "For a whole year I have pretended to worship Allah. Wouldn't it be better if I worshipped Allah with all my heart? I am ashamed. What should I do? If people want to appoint me as the caretaker of the mosque, I will not accept it." He then resolved to devote himself wholeheartedly to Allah. That night, for the first time, he prayed with true sincerity. The next day, as usual, people gathered in front of the mosque. They exclaimed, "Hey, look, the walls of the mosque are cracking. We need to appoint someone to oversee its repair." They all agreed that the best person to become the caretaker of the mosque was Malik. They immediately approached Malik, who was praying at that time. Patiently, they waited for Malik to finish his prayer, then said, "We have come to ask you to accept our appointment." Malik exclaimed, "O Allah, for a whole year I pretended to worship you, and not a single person paid attention to me. Now, after I have surrendered my soul to you and resolved that I do not desire any position, you send 20 people to burden me with this task. By your greatness, I do not want this appointment." Malik then ran away from the mosque and devoted himself to worshiping Allah. Living a life of austerity and discipline, he became a respected and pious man. When a wealthy man from the city of Basra died and left behind a beautiful daughter, the daughter approached Thabit al-Bunani seeking help and said to him, "I want to marry Malik so that he can help me in obeying Allah's commands." Thabit conveyed the woman's wish to Malik. Malik responded, "I have divorced the world. That woman belongs to the world I have divorced, so I cannot marry her." There was a young man, a neighbor of Malik, whose behavior was very unruly and disturbing. Malik was often bothered by the young man's mischief, but he patiently waited, hoping that someone else would step up to admonish him. However, people approached Malik with their complaints about the young man. So Malik went to the young man and asked him to change his ways. The young man arrogantly responded, "I am a favorite of the Sultan, and no one can forbid or stop me from doing whatever I want. I will complain to the Sultan, Malik threatened. The young man replied, "The Sultan will not blame me. Whatever I do, the Sultan will approve of it." Malik continued his threat, "Fine, if the Sultan can't do anything, I will complain to the most merciful," while pointing upwards. "Allah," the young man answered. "He is too merciful to punish me." This response left Malik speechless, and he walked away, unable to say anything. A few days passed, and the young man's behavior became truly excessive. Once again, Malik went to admonish him. But on his way, Malik heard a voice directed at him, "Do not touch my friend." Still shocked and trembling, Malik went to meet the young man. Seeing Malik's arrival, the young man shouted, "What has happened now that brings you here for the second time?" Malik replied, "This time I did not come to criticize your behavior. I came solely to tell you that I heard a voice saying this." The young man exclaimed, "Wow, in that case I will turn my house into a place of worship for him. I no longer care about all my wealth." After saying this, he left everything he owned behind and began wandering the world. Malik later recounted that sometime afterward in the city of Mecca, he met the young man, who was in a destitute state, nearing the end of his life. "He is my friend," the young man said, gasping for breath. "I am going to meet my friend." After saying this, he breathed his last. For many years, nothing sweet or sour passed through Malik's mouth. Every evening he would go to the baker and buy 2 pieces of bread to break his fast. Sometimes the bread he bought was still warm, and this would comfort his heart and stimulate his appetite. One day Malik fell ill, and he deeply craved meat. For 10 days he managed to suppress this desire. When he could no longer resist, he went to a food shop to buy 2 or 3 pieces of lamb shanks and hid them in his sleeve. The shop owner sent one of his servants to follow Malik to see what he would do. Not long after, the servant returned with tears in his eyes. The servant reported he went to a secluded place. There he took out the lamb shanks, smelled them, and said to himself, "More than this you do not deserve." Then he gave the bread and lamb shanks to a beggar. He also said to himself, "O weak body, do not think I hurt you out of hatred. I do this so that on the day of resurrection you will not burn in the fires of hell. Be patient a little while longer, for this temptation may soon pass, and you will attain eternal happiness." One day, Malik bin Dinar once said, "I do not understand the meaning of the saying, 'If someone does not eat meat for 40 days, their intelligence will decrease.' I myself have not eaten meat for 20 years, yet my intelligence has only increased over time." For 40 years, Malik lived in the city of Basra, and during that time he never ate fresh dates. When the date season arrived, he would say, "O people of Basra, witness how my stomach has not shrunk from not eating dates, and how your stomachs have not swelled from eating dates every day." However, after 40 years he was overtaken by inner restlessness. No matter how hard he tried, his desire to eat fresh dates could no longer be suppressed. Finally, after several days, the craving became so strong that Malik could no longer resist. "I will not eat dates," he denied his own desire. "I would rather be killed or die." That night he heard a voice saying, "You must eat the dates. Free your body from its constraint." Upon hearing this, his body, sensing an opportunity, began to cry out. "If you want the dates," Malik snapped, "fast continuously for a week and pray all night. After that, I will give you the dates." His body was pleased with this offer. For an entire week, he prayed all night and fasted every day. Afterward, he went to the market, bought some dates, and then went to the mosque to eat them. However, from the rooftop of a house, a child shouted, "Father, a Jew has bought dates and is about to eat them in the mosque." "What is a Jew doing in the mosque?" the father grumbled, rushing to see who the child was talking about. But upon seeing Malik, he immediately knelt down. Malik then asked, "What does your child's statement mean?" The father pleaded. "Forgive him, teacher. He is just a child and doesn't understand. There are many Jews around here. We always fast, and our children see some Jews eating during the day. Therefore, they think that anyone eating during the day is a Jew. What he said was out of ignorance. Please forgive him." Upon hearing this explanation, Malik felt deep regret. He realized that the child had been guided by Allah to say those words. Malik then cried out, "O Allah, I have not even eaten a single date, and you have called me a Jew through the tongue of an innocent child. Had I eaten these dates, you might have declared me a disbeliever. By your greatness, I swear that I will never eat dates again for the rest of my life."